And so, that was the end of her career. And therefore, these days, there are so many crimes of people not really controlling their genitals. In most cases, the women are the victims. Rape, all type of cases, molestation, so many things are happening. This is the reason why we need to spread this Krishna consciousness, because this science of Krishna consciousness is the only avenue, is the only it gives us the practical strategies to be able to have control over our senses. You can make so many laws, you can make so many rules. Yes, even sending people to jail, serves as a deterrent to some people. And I tell you, when they come out from jail, it doesn't stop them from going to commit the same type of crime. But if the purity, if the heart, if the mind, the senses become purified, then naturally they will not act in a criminal way or an antisocial way to implicate themselves. And when things of this nature happen, not only is the individual involved, the whole family, they become like, subjected to real, to shame. Therefore, it is important for us to understand the essence of this very knowledge. It not only nourishes the soul and prepares us for emancipation from this repeated death and death, but even in this very lifetime, we could be very happy to pursue our different professions without fear. And so these 9 gates, as mentioned here, in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna gives so much of delineation about these 9 gates, the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. Especially in chapter 16 of the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is important for us to realize, or to at least begin to appreciate, what it takes to be in a mode of goodness. In a mode of goodness, actually the Brahmins or the intelligentsia, those are the people supposedly in the mode of goodness. But the mode of goodness is not just about acquisition of knowledge. It's supposed to give us sustainable happiness. Sustainable happiness here does not imply sustained happiness or a lasting happiness. Sustainable happiness here implies that happiness that you acquire without inflicting pain on anyone, not even in the next generation. So traditionally, people go into some type of happiness, but some flickering happiness. Yes, there is happiness on this planet, but flickering happiness is so temporary. And sometimes we have to cause so much pain to someone else, or we have to cause so much of pain to ourselves just to get that flickering happiness. And we say pain to ourselves. It might not just be the immediate time we are trying to acquire or achieve that happiness. It's like someone is smoking. Someone came to work at the home where I'm staying, and so he's smoking, an artisan. So he's smoking. So we greet a lot, and I just asked him that, just and such. So, what do you gain from this smoking? So he busted out laughing. He said, I really want to give it up. But it's not so easy when you form a habit. And therefore it is important for the devotees to understand that we have a gift from Prabhupada. We have a gift from Krishna. The Bhagavad-gita was spoken by Lord Krishna himself. So this is an embodiment of transcendental knowledge. Any chapter you open in this Bhagavad-gita, any text you read, gives you some upliftment. And so here, in this very chapter, which is on the modes of material nature, goodness, the mode of goodness is such, is a desired mode. Prabhupada describes it that those who are advancing in knowledge, like, the poets, the philosophers, high-profile people. And again, you find with these people, if you get very close to them, because there is a deficiency of spiritual information culture, you see that their so-called advancement in education or in material knowledge also is a cause of pain sometimes. Because they really get confused at some point in time. So it is important for us to appreciate what Prabhupada has given to us. We might not be, those high-profile guys, but at least we can chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And that happiness could be sustainable. Sustainable in the sense that you don't inflict any pain on any living entity in bid to achieving your happiness. Any comments or questions on this point? Yes.
What's the in your experience? What's the easiest process for someone just starting out trying to control these senses and not follow their dictations? What's the first thing they can do in order to help themselves in that direction?
That's a good thing. The easiest thing to do, I can tell from my own experience. The easiest thing for me, I tell you one thing. When I encountered the Hare Krishnas in the beginning, I thought, what? Yeah. So what I did, let me just give you personal experience. What I did was that I was determined that if other people have done this, I will also do it. So what I did was that, that time as a young, in my middle 20s, as a young guy, I was working. And so what I did was that I thought of really cutting off my friends, but they were mostly like, lawyers, prosecutors in the court, and police officers. And so we used to go out every evening after work, especially during the weekend. So then, one of them is the top police officer, and so we were very close. And I just decided, no, I'm not going to go out with them. I'm not going to go out with them. But then I decided that I had to chant the 16 rounds in the morning before going to work. So I was chanting like that. I woke up early in the morning. I was by myself, and so I'll prepare my food and then chant 16 rounds before going to work. And when I come back, I lock up myself in the house. Just by myself in my own house. So I just lock up myself and then chant again another 16 rounds. Then I go to sleep. And I was doing I was doing that, but the bad side to that, in quote, the bad side to that is that I thought, oh, all this stuff, all this job I'm doing, come on. Better to go and explore properly what the Vedas have. Better to become a full-time priest. So in 3 months, I dropped the job and moved to the temple. So don't try to chant too much. If you I remember I met one guy in New Jersey, in Plainfield. So he came to pay obeisances after the class. So I was asking him that, I was discussing with him, and he's 42 or so. So I said, so you come here with your family? He said, no, I come by myself. I said, you're not married? He said, no, I'm not married. I said, what are you doing with your life? You need a companion. he told me they were born in devotional family. His mother, his father is in Florida. His mom is here. He said he lives with his mom. That his parents have separated. But he has another brother who is married, come to the temple, himself and the wife. They are doing also pujari work on the altar. They come to help with pujari work. But for him, he's not married. I said, so what do you do? So he said, oh, but Maharaj, this is what the Bhagavatam says. This is what the Bhagavatam says. This is what the Bhagavatam says. I said, oh, I see. Bhagavatam spoiled you. I said, oh, the Bhagavatam spoiled you. Why did you read it? So he busted out laughing. Yeah, so there's a transformation, a heavy transformation that comes with the presence of Krishna consciousness. So back to your question, chanting. You have rapid positive change. Just rapid positive change. Your bad habits, your desires, and all these things bugging you. So if you go and tell somebody, hey, this your lifestyle, you're sinful. What is the strategy? What is the paramdiswa, never tented that you're giving to the person? What is the higher principle you're giving to the person? That is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. We don't say, give up give up meat eating. And what will I eat? I remember again when I was in Africa. And so there was a family, the husband was a pilot. And then the lady, they have a big store that they operate, the wife. So I was passing one time, and then we went there they also have a secretarial office. So we used to go there to send fax messages. And during one Janmashtami, I sent one devotee, that time I was president of the temple. So I sent one devotee to send that lady some prasada. And Janmashtami is all different type of preparations and all these stuffs. And so when I said that was during the weekend. So I think on Monday, I was driving past that place and I heard someone shouting on my name. Vasudeva, Vasudeva. So I stopped. I looked behind and I saw this lady, she bumped out from her house and was, running towards me in the car. And I thought, maybe I committed something, or some devotee has done something. And you know what she told me when she came back? She said, so this is how you guys are enjoying. Yeah, from the prasada we sent to her. So the point is, there is that principle of paramdristra, higher taste, to be able to give up the lower taste. If you tell somebody, hey, boyfriend and girlfriend, it's sinful. What are you talking about? You're just looking for trouble because you are not giving any alternative approach. First of all, the fellow should become purified. Prabhupada even did not give rules and regulations in this place. He never gave any rules and regulations to anybody. He just engaged them in chanting and taking prasadam. The day they want to, the first initiation, the first initiation, that very day was when somebody, I don't know whether it's Brahmananda or somebody asked, what will be our commitment? Before Prabhupada brought up the 4 principles. And how many rounds you have to chant. So, women say, well, we're not Prabhupada, we're not expert. But we have to learn from the experts to know how to deal with the conditions. So it's very painful when you challenge someone's sinful life without providing an alternative stuff. It's like you're telling the person, I'm better than you, you rascal. Now, the people in the mode of goodness, they act like that. we should not simply be on the mode of goodness. We should aspire to be on the mode of transcendental goodness. Because the mode of goodness, according to the explanations given by Krishna and even Prabhupada's purport, mode of goodness conditions the living entity to this world. You just go on to take another body, another birth. It's just that it is better than the other modes of passion and ignorance, but it is not a liberating mode. It conditions us to happiness, and that happiness is even, there's a clause. What is that? It is flickering happiness. So bottom line, to speed up our process, chanting. And you just try it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The bad thing about the chanting is that when you chant, if it gets a particular stage, you could be delayed in some projects. I'm being frank, because to keep down the beat bag could become a problem. Yeah, but that's a good problem. I've experienced it a number of times that, to put down the beat bag becomes a problem, and I have other things to do, but to put it down it just becomes a problem. And that's a good problem. Yes, and what's the question?
It was partially answered, but I can ask. I wanted to ask something from what you just said. You said something about not preaching, but talking to people without giving an alternative. But what if we do give an alternative and it is not accepted? For example, when we talk to our family and to our close friends after joining Krishna consciousness, you do provide an alternative, but it is not really accepted. What's our...
Yeah, I give you this strategy. I know. See, I've been around in the movement for like 3 decades. I know what devotees normally do. We have a problem with that. So, I'll give you an example of myself. So when I was a join, I had my friends, boys from my community, and a number of them were like professors in university. I didn't preach to them. I didn't just preach to them. My friend, I didn't preach to them. So they'll come over, I give them prasadam. I keep the books just, on my table. I give the book just on my table. And those who are curious, they pick up some books and then they start reading. So by the time I wanted to move into the temple, all my books, one professor, young professor in University of Science and Technology in Port Harcourt, he just collected all of my books. I was surprised. Yeah. Another boy, will be in Harinam. And then he came to me, and then he said, "You are in this type of place, and you didn't tell me?" Yeah, that was the reaction. I remember one of my cousins, one lady. I didn't preach to anybody. I didn't preach to anybody. One lady, when I met her after several years, you know what she was asking me? She said, "We are first cousins. We used to meet in our grandmother's place when we were kids." So you know what she asked me? She said, "I want to go to India, and when I'm ready, I shall contact you." I said, "What? Go to India to do what?" She just laughed at me. He said, "See, you don't have been reading your books? I'm getting ready to visit India." Yeah. So there are other cases where I have some friends, even right here in the US. One lady, she's very close to me, and she's a retired banker, a retired bank manager. So she called me. We used to talk on the phone a lot. So she called me one day on the phone and said, "Maharaj, You know what she said? She said, I think I just have to dump these people. I said, what do you mean? And who? He said, my parents. My parents. I said, see you. Just because you have been a devotee, and so now you try to condemn everybody else? I said, your parents, do they take prasadam? He said, yes, they like prasadam. I said, why are you forcing them overnight to become devotees? You go and visit them every weekend, go and give them prasadam. So, you take gentle. I didn't meet my father for 16 years. When I moved into the temple, 6 years. If you have a child, the child, in some places, they might even have a baby. I didn't meet any one of them. Not to talk of preaching. I didn't meet physically, no. I think after 11 years or so, I did communicate because I met one of my friends, and then he said he was going to see my dad. That I can give him a note. Just if I tell him that he met me, he might not believe that. I should just give him a note. So I gave. But then from there he communicated with me, and what he said was that I gave birth to you. I know you more than you know yourself. Whatever you have chosen to do, I don't have any interference. I know you. You can't choose the wrong thing. I'm only praying that whatever you're doing, you should be successful. Now, after 16 years, we met. I went to meet him with some devotees, and he collected all the books that we brought. He's an educator. He collected all the books that we brought without any query. Nothing. On that spot, he knew that we don't drink alcohols, so they brought a number of cartons and crates of soft drinks, malts and other things. One of them was Coca-Cola. So I said he should return the Coca-Cola. We don't drink Coca-Cola, and we will not distribute Coca-Cola to the guests who came. He asked me why. I explained that Coca-Cola has some elements of psychedelic substance. Right from that day, he also ceased drinking Coca-Cola. So the bottom line is that we should be respectful. If people don't follow what we are doing, that is the time we should show more love for them. So that the love does not become conditional. Oh, because I don't follow them follow her for her religion, she's behaving like this to me. No. People want to see the transformation we have undergone. And naturally, they would like to align with us. So don't take it easy. Don't be in a hurry. Feel free to go around with people, but don't get into the habit of trying to preach to people, everybody you meet, trying to convert them. No. Because when you try to do that, especially with your parents, they will think, she's my girl. What does she know? I train her. I know. Come on. I know more than her. In fact, that was the conception I had, that I never preached to any family member. But you know what? When I met my family, the time I went to see my dad, his younger brother and other of his cousins, they were begging me to at least we went there with cartons of books. The guests who came, the books were not even enough. My family, they were begging me. My father's cousins and his younger brother, they were all begging me to at least visit them once in a year. I said, hey, boy, I'm a busy guy. But then I have two devotees who used to visit them, so they keep them on. But then the bottom line is that family. They say a doctor has no relevance in his family. The family members, they don't value a doctor. They don't value. It's your child. It's a lawyer. Your parents. What will you tell them about law? It's like, sure. You are my baby. Yeah, that's what they think,
They have their own lawyer.
So, and this is a general appeal, we're trying to spread a very strange philosophy, a strange lifestyle. It's a counterculture lifestyle. It may take time for people to accept. There are a number of people who are very high pious merit. Immediately they hear the philosophy, they will grab it. Majority of people are not like that. So we should be considerate. We should not go into hiding, but we should be considerate. We should expose ourselves, and the essential factor is to be friendly, to be loving to people. I did a lot of that with some of my friends, professors. Like one of my major editor-in-chief of some of the journals that I write for, they are not devotees. And they are top, high-profile scholars. So I remember one of them, I will go there, and then I'll just I'll get some devotees to prepare some, some carry-away prasadam, and then I go to give to him. I give also to his secretaries. There were 2 ladies there. But then a time came that if I visit that office without any cookie, any prasadam, I'm in trouble. Yeah, so being friendly. And then at some point in time, the secretaries, they were scared that the professor was going to perhaps abandon everything to become like me, full time. So I reassured them that no, I will not even allow it. He has a lot of obligation. So yeah, we should be friendly with people, but don't impose your philosophy on people. It's not going to work. There are people who are very pious, they will naturally embrace it. All right? All right, in the absence of, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I live with a family of meat eaters, and I'm trying to prepare food for Prabhupada and Krishna. So I don't know where to prepare the food because I don't want it near the meat.
Okay.
Or where to prepare meat.
Yeah.
So I try not to impose on them, and I've told them about Hare Krishna for years now, but they don't stop eating meat.
Yeah. It's difficult. Even the meat eating is one of those most difficult things because people believe or people think that there is enjoyment, but a lot of health challenges come with meat eating. So what you could do is, again, don't be hostile, be friendly, be loving, and you try to see that you use separate pots for cooking. And Prabhupada lived with, when he came to, which place was that?
Boston. Butler, Pennsylvania. Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh, Butler, okay. When Prabhupada first came to this country, he was living with a family. And in the fridge, where he put his burger and food, meat was there. Meat was loaded in the fridge. Meat. Prabhupada. So we are, whatever we are seeing, we should compare, what past acharyas have seen. So be patient. By your presence alone, I've seen cases where devotees tolerate their family members, and eventually their whole family became devotees. They even gave them trouble. Really gave them trouble. I remember, one of my girls, one of my mentees, she